Cars starting to roll here at Martinsville as we get ready for the final practice and qualifying of the round of 8 for the Xfinity Series. Alongside our crew chief Steve Letarte, Mayor Jeff Burton, Rick Allen with you. Kim Kuhn will be in the infield, keeping track of all the stories that are building as we get ready for this practice session. It'll be broken into 2 groups. The groups will go out and practice. I believe it's 20 minutes per group. And then they will have a qualifying run where they'll each get 2 laps, and it'll only be 1 round. Take a look at the point standings. Sam Mayer's the only one safe. He, with his win, has launched himself into the championship 4 in Phoenix.
John Hunter Nemechek has to feel pretty good, Rick, at 44 above, right? Sammy Smith, Chandler Smith, and Creed, on the other hand, down there at 6, 7, 8. I think they're, it's must-win situations for those 3. But Jeff, it's a big points battle between Custer, Hill, and Allgaier.
Sleepless nights coming for these guys all week. They had them, and then, tonight a tremendous amount of stress between Custer, Hill, and Allgaier. 3 points is almost nothing. I mean, it's just so close, and that battle starts today. If you don't qualify well, if you don't get stage points in stage 1, that might be the difference between you making Phoenix with a chance to win a championship and not having a chance to win it.
There's Brett Moffitt out on track. We were showing Joe Graff Jr. there. Again, as you know, in the playoffs in NASCAR, it's not just the playoff drivers, it's everyone that's part of this field. There'll be 38 cars that'll be fighting around this half-mile paperclip tomorrow afternoon, trying to win, while those 8 drivers that we just talked about and 7 that are still undetermined if they're going to race for the championship, they'll be fighting for every point they can get. We know for sure that 2 drivers will get in based on points. If you win and you're a playoff driver, you can advance, like the playoff driver that's standing by with Kim Kuhn. Sam Mayer.
Yeah, Sam's win last weekend at Miami locked himself into the championship 4. So how does being locked in affect what you do here at Martinsville?
Yeah, I mean, winning solves everything. So being able to win in Miami and not really having to stress at all about this weekend feels really good. Our cars are as fast as Xfinity TNG everywhere we go, and they were really fast last weekend. So hopefully we can have another set of fast cars this weekend. The 7 has to lock himself in still. So hopefully he gets in, and JRM has a 50% chance at the championship next week in Phoenix.
It's considerably warmer than it usually is here. How's that going to affect the racetrack both today and tomorrow?
Yeah, we think it's going to be a good bit different. Marty's already thinking about different stuff for tomorrow. So we're going to try some of it today and see if it works.
There you have it. Sam Mayer getting locked into the championship 4. The one thing he did tell me earlier today, though, is not to make enemies will be key this weekend before he goes for a title next weekend at Phoenix.
Yeah, Kim, the Marty he spoke about, Marty Lindley, his crew chief, looking to fight for a championship next weekend. So smart to not make enemies, because you don't want somebody on the racetrack to affect your run at a championship.
Easier said than done here. You can see Kaz Gralla going around this racetrack. Look how narrow it is. One car around there looks pretty simple. That's a big curb on the left side. Want to put your left side tires right on that curb. A lot of rubber buildup over here for the modified race last night. Be interesting to see if that affects these cars. But restarts, long runs, this is a physical racetrack, and just running a normal lap here, racing people, it's easy to make somebody mad.
There's Blaine Perkins with the payday 0-2.
Finished 10th here last year in this race.
Take us around the racetrack, Jeff. You won back in 1990 in the Xfinity Series. Was that the first win? First Xfinity Series win?
Man, that made me sound really old.
Yeah, that was the line. That was the moment.
Bet he sounded old.
So this one thing about Martinsville is it really hasn't changed. This is kind of the same racetrack it was then, and you really attack it the same way. The corners are concrete now. What you want to try to do is stay out against the wall as late as you can, get a big arc, turn, and get to the bottom about right there. And then Steve knows this better than I do, because he worked with 2 drivers that were really good at it. When you get to the 5/8 mark of the right corner, like right there, the car's got to be pointed and it's got to turn. If it points there and it turns, everything works. Rear grip's better, everything works better. If it doesn't turn right there, you're in big trouble, because now you just can't go back to the throttle, and now you're spinning the rear tires, car's not pointing, you have to wait on the gas, and there's just no speed. So corner entry, and then, you know, the 5/8 mark, you need to be in the throttle and be in the throttle hard.
And I think the great drivers here are the ones that know exactly how to manage that 50 feet, right? Like, it's a small area.
Yes.
Whether you crack the throttle or you literally wait an extra 15 feet completely changes kind of the exit of your corner.
There's Rajah Caruth. So you said that it hasn't changed much. I believe there used to be maybe flowers or plants in the grass, definitely in the inside of the curb. Jeff, actually take us through it. This was the first win in 1990.
Yeah, this was 1990. This was a huge win for me. I honestly thought my career was about over.
Watch out, Kim.
Yep. Still runs like that. And, you know, I really thought that I was at the verge of my career being over. Just things weren't going well, and just physically, emotionally exhausted, and won that race. And immediately the weight of the world came off my shoulders. And from then on, things, not that they got easier, but I had a lot more confidence.
We mentioned sleepless nights. Well, Allgaier, he's one of those drivers that's fighting within 3 points of making the championship 4. The end of October is upon us, and now in Southern Virginia here in Martinsville, but so many beautiful sights around here as fall is hitting the area, foliage changing colors, and just a gorgeous countryside when you come to Virginia and Martinsville for racing. And that's what we're here for this weekend, to determine who the championship 4 will be in the Xfinity Series and the Cup Series. Tomorrow it's the Xfinity Series turn, and today it's practice and qualifying for the series, as we're watching Brett Moffitt in the 25, currently second fastest as far as for a lap.
Had a good race here back in April, ran 9th. This is a good example. Jeff, you talk about that rubber going down. I mean, normally when we show up, the concrete area is pretty light. The tire rubber sticking to it is a big topic of conversation, and it has a lot to do with the weather. We're going to talk all weekend long about the temperature. Colder concrete, Rick, for whatever reason, I'm not claiming to be a chemical engineer, but the cooler the concrete, the less the rubber builds up. And it's an argument every single Sunday morning. You walk through the Cup garage, it's, hey, is the rubber going to get put down this year? Is the rubber going to go on the racetrack? Well, with the very seasonally warm temperatures this weekend, I think both Xfinity and Cup drivers are already thinking that these rubber areas are going to kind of get chunky, to be quite honest, Jeff, to the point where you have to straddle it. You don't want either tire in it.
Well, that's what's interesting, Steve, is like when the drivers and crew chiefs talk about the rubber going on the racetrack, what does that mean? There's times that this rubber gets built up so badly that you can't run through it. You have to straddle it. You have to put the right sides just barely on it, meaning your left sides are all in the curb on the inside, and you don't ever know when that's going to happen. Like, it just pops up, and you have to completely change the way you drive the race car, but under caution, that gets picked up. And then on the restart, you go running back, just typical Martinsville. Then that stuff starts getting laid down, and you have to completely change the way you drive. So we also have, there's a new tire on the Cup side on Sunday, so we don't know what that means. And then with the heat, Steve, it just takes speed right out of the car. They get really hard to handle, especially in these Xfinity cars.
Talk a lot about style of racing. I can't imagine with somebody like Connor Mozak, the guy who came from the road course kind of genre, to come here. You know, the big tracks, you have this aero balance, trying to figure out how to follow other cars. Then this is full contact. I mean, it looks very peaceful right now because only half the cars are practicing, and of the half that are available, only half are on the racetrack. So it's very spread out. You have all this room. Tomorrow afternoon, there's going to be a full field. The best chance you're going to have, Jeff, is what? 4 or 5 car lengths out front, maybe 4 or 5 car lengths out back. Out of 250 laps, 210 laps, you're going to be dealing with traffic, either being attacked or trying to attack somebody.
Timmy Hill's third, Kaz Grala fourth, fifth, Poole, and then Yaley back there is the 6th fastest lap that has been turned. Yaley behind the wheel of the 4 this week. Only 2 other starts in the Xfinity Series, so just his 3rd starts.
Solid race car driver. You know, I think he's underrated, actually. Does a really nice job on Sundays. Just a really good race car driver. You look at the success he had, and you know, midgets and all of this, the USAC stuff, all that stuff he did. He was so good in it, knows how to race, and really hasn't been in that situation where he is driving top-notch equipment, but he just grinds himself through races, does a really nice job.
Yeah, I mean, a Triple Crown champ in USAC, right?
Yeah.
So won championships in the 3 big divisions.
There's so many drivers around the country, Steve, that are really, really good, and may, for one reason or another, never really get that great shot, right? And so you undervalue them. You don't appreciate their driving ability as much as you should. He's a great example.
Josh Malicki. He has 4 Cup starts here, but this is his first attempt in an Xfinity Series car.
How many laps has he gotten this year? He has been driving a lot of different race cars. Yeah, I mean, he has been around a lot, driving a lot of different stuff, and really interested to see what his future looks like.
10 Xfinity Series starts already this year, but as you mentioned, so many different disciplines that he's able to get behind the wheel and have success.
And if you follow him on social media, which I do, I think you do, Rick, he's always in something.
Yes.
Right, either a go-kart or some sort of, I want to say Trans Am, even though that maybe isn't the correct category, but some sort of converted street to road course racing.
Anthony Alfredo, the Dead on Tools car. Go back to the 91 car. Looks like the right side tires don't have any lettering on them. Like he's been in the wall or some sort of issue, which wouldn't surprise me at Martinsville. But is he rolling? See the yellow writing on the left side?
Let's take a look here as he comes back by.
Right side.
Yeah.
Not there.
No,
the right front.
You're right. Again, the composite bodies on these a lot more resilient, as that ends the session for the first group that was out on track. And again, fastest Blaine Perkins of that group. Oh, Raja Karuth, the 21-year-old from Washington, D.C. I guess he's going to be Iron Man. I'm Iron Man. For Halloween, of course. Second group is now rolling off of pit road and making its way onto the track. This one packed full of playoff drivers like John Hunter Nemechek. We've already mentioned how John Hunter Nemechek, as far as points wise, looks pretty comfortable at 44 above the cut line. And what a season he's put together.
Oh, it's a great season. And all of these playoff drivers, as you mentioned, are very thankful to be in the second group. Jeff mentioned the modified rubber. Well, now we have at least one 15-minute session of Xfinity Series cars. I don't think it's completely how it's going to be in the race, but it's trending that direction. So this will be a more valuable practice.
Kim, what do you think the expectations are tomorrow as far as track and race conditions?
Well, race conditions won't look like they will from now on. That's because the race is scheduled to end about right now tomorrow. So, Steve, you just said how valuable or much more valuable this second practice section will be because of the rubber laid down. They're not having to deal with the mod rubber. But I'm hearing teams tell their drivers, all right, this is when the race is going to end tomorrow. So if you're telling your driver that, what kind of feedback are you hoping he's going to give you that you can actually use tomorrow, knowing the race should be over by this time?
Well, the real key is what's our goal for this? I really want Kim a 15 or 20 lap run. Don't get too caught up in traffic. This 18 is right up the 20's rear bumper. I would be like, back it down a little bit, which he just did. Let the 20 go do his thing. Let's go do our thing. Why are we making this more difficult than it needs to be? Let's get a little fresh track. Trust me, you'll have enough bumper tag tomorrow. We don't need it in practice.
That surprised me that we saw the 18 come out there right away. Sammy Smith almost got into the back bumper of John Hunter Nemechek, and that was first lap of practice.
Bring practice back. That's how it used to be. Man, I used to put 36 of them out there at the same time, and it was chaos. I mean, you just had to go. That was fun.
We're combining first practice and second practice, so that's why you see Perkins and Moffitt still on here. But the cars that are on track, you're going to see the green chips next to their names.
Sammy Smith making a change next year, going to junior motorsports. Even this car, it's a big move.
Young driver with a lot of potential. Sammy Smith, just 19 years old. Johnston, Iowa. A little bit of a surprise that we saw Sammy Smith move from the Toyota camp to the Chevrolets with Junior Motorsports. Kim.
That team, though, very optimistic about this weekend. Remember, in the spring, they finished runner-up, and when I talked to crew chief Jeff Mendering this afternoon, he had a huge smile on his face, said they've already started prepping their championship car. They had so much optimism because Sammy cut his teeth on these short tracks, so they feel like this is right in his wheelhouse. They're expecting to have a great weekend and find themselves a spot in the championship 4.
We're driving your entry to 3 right now.
Championship 4.
So you heard that information. Overdriving your entry into 3. It's really easy to do here. You try to carry so much speed on corner entry. They're comparing him to his teammate, John Hunter Nemechek. That's great information.
There's Sheldon Creed, and it was announced earlier that he would not be back to RCR. And then we received some information this week that Jesse Love will actually be behind the wheel of the 2 for RCR in 2024.
Yeah, Jesse Love, that's a big move, kind of jumping the the Truck Series. We're seeing truck drivers jump straight to Cup, not run Xfinity, and now we're seeing a guy jump the Truck Series going straight to Xfinity. So the world's confused at the moment.
It is. It's surprising. The end of the Homestead race for Sheldon Creed definitely didn't end the way he wanted it to, and a lot of people didn't know what had happened, but here it is coming down the backstretch for the final time.
Yeah, he was out there nursing old tires, had one set of tires left in the pits, was hoping for a yellow but didn't want to be the yellow.
But Sheldon Creed, one of those drivers that's in a must-win situation here.
This practice is so important because it leads right into qualifying, and if you don't qualify well and don't get stage 1 points, you could be in big trouble. This 21 car, Austin Hill, 7th fastest, Creed 5th fastest, Allgaier 10th fastest. Those 3 guys in a tight point battle. But look how close the speeds are. I mean, Creed a 6.39, Allgaier 6.72. You know, that's really, really close.
Steve, are you surprised that the times for this group hasn't been anywhere near what we've seen out of Perkins in that first group?
Well, I think it goes back to the surface of the racetrack and just how clean it was. We talked about the modified rubber, but obviously the track had a little more grip, was a little bit cleaner. This entire group hasn't been able to match Perkins, and only Nemechek has been able to best Moffitt's fast lap. So while that's good for Perkins and Moffitt to be on the board, I do think these guys are getting a more representative track of what they're going to have tomorrow, which is a little hard on the ego, but it's good for the notes. That right there, I don't want you to do that, Jeff. I don't need you to slip the rear tires, burn these things up.
Allgaier, the 37-year-old. Right now, he's the one who's behind that cut line. I think before Homestead, you'd have thought Allgaier could have been one of the favorites for the championship 4.
I talked to Justin a little bit ago, and he's really confident. You know, I said, how much pressure? He said, none. You know, just going to go out here and do my job. I feel like what he did say that was really interesting is that the 3 guys that are so tight in points, he said every one of those 3 guys are good enough to be in a championship 4. Like, every one of them is capable. But he knows what it's going to boil down to is track position and mistakes. You cannot have mistakes. But his confidence level in his team is exceptionally high. Feels good about today and tomorrow.
I mean, the race itself is pretty straightforward. You're going to run 60 laps, put a set of tires on, run 60 more, put a set of tires on. Then somewhere in the last 130, while you can make it on fuel, if you have any sort of yellow, you know, you're going to want to put tires on. You just have to kind of pick which yellow. If we have a bunch of yellows, it gets to be a tough decision.
See on the left side, the most points that have been earned on short tracks this year. And this guy right here, Cole Custer, has led the pack, even though it's by a point over John Hunter Nemechek.
Really fast here in the spring as well. Had a lot of speed. And right now, I think he's the best of those 3 drivers. He's you said it, he's only 11th fastest. He's slower than Allgaier and Austin Hill. But when I look at, lap 21, I think he is a little bit better than those other two.
Kim, what's the vibe down there as we get ready for qualifying?
Well, we talk about the importance of qualifying, and that's for a couple of reasons. A, you look at the guys that need stage points, Custer, Hill, Allgaier. That will be key in order to get stage points in the first two stages is track position. In addition to that, the lead lap cars come around so fast you don't want to go down a lap. But then on top of that, today's qualifying effort will help set pit stall selections next week. Yes, that happens each and every week, but with a little caveat as we head into Championship 4 weekend, they'll go by qualifying with the Championship 4 drivers picking their pit stalls first out of the field in the order they qualify. So every playoff team I talk to stress the importance of qualifying for that pit stall selection next weekend in Phoenix.
And that is super important. We've seen championships won based on guys getting off the pit road first.
And the Championship 4 will pick first, right? So, but you want to be first of the 4.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, Kyle Larson.
Yeah.
I don't want to put his whole championship over one pit stop, but he surely didn't come in first. He went out first and then wasn't passed. So, I mean, we have seen it before.
There's Chandler Smith in the 16. He's sawing at the wheel.
A lot to still be announced over there at Colleague. Yeah, just a lot of unanswered questions on what this driver lineup is going to look like next year.
Yeah, we know Chandler Smith's leaving. They all announced that. Where's he going? He's too talented to be sitting on the sidelines. Talked a little bit ago about Cole Custer potentially being the fastest. Justin Allgaier said, wait a minute, Jeff. I feel like I've got a lot of speed too, and I think he does. As this run has gone on, he has shown a lot of speed. You saw him experimenting a little bit right there in 1 and 2 up the racetrack. And this is something you'll see. Let's see what he does this time. That time, just left side tires right on the curb. But there's another way to get around this racetrack, and that's not being on the bottom of the racetrack in the middle of the corner. Use a lot of it like this. Then turn, be on the bottom on corner exit. It's a whole other way of getting around the racetrack, and Justin's just experimenting. He's just out there trying different lines, trying to see what his car does well, what it doesn't do well. And that's all about trying to find a way to pass. Because if you do the same thing the guy in front of you is doing, you're not going to pass him. So what he's doing right here is if a guy was in front of me just wrapping the curb, left side tires all over it, how am I going to get by him? That's what he's working on, trying to figure out if his car will let him do it.
And when you're looking at the scoring pylon, just above Allgaier's name, you see Snyder. Myatt Snyder, only 4 starts in the Xfinity Series this year. This will be his 5th, but pretty impressive lap there for Myatt after not very many starts this year. It's tough to jump in behind the wheel of a car and then go out there and put together a top 10 speed.
Yeah, he has 5 starts here. He's found some late model success here, but even though it's the same track, these cars, Jeff and I were having this conversation earlier, the amount of horsepower in these cars, the weight of these cars, for sure, it does help when you come to a track you're more comfortable at. You've run laps here, but they just kind of react so much differently than a late model as far as weight and response.
The key to that, Steve, is recognizing that you understand the track, but not the car, right? So when I watch drivers that come from the late model stock cars to run the Xfinity race, especially Xfinity race, not so much the truck, they try to drive it like a late model car. And so what they do is they really arc the corner, like they stay against the wall forever, and then they turn late and get to the curb really, really late. That works great in those cars because they're low powered, high grip. These cars are low grip and high power. And it's completely opposite. If you ever miss that curb, it's hard to get back down there. So you have to recognize that it's the same track, but you have to drive it differently.
Here's Ryan Sieg. Only 1 top 10 finish in his 6 Martinsville races.
And you see this group kind of compared to the first group. Most of these cars have just stayed on the racetrack. We've had a few cars come on and off, But like you look at Ryan Sieg, right? He's run 22 laps. So he's maybe came off for one stop on pit road to make an adjustment, but a lot of laps run in this group.
Love that too, Steve, because that's what this race is, right? You get at least one long run, and you can lose or gain a ton of spots in that long run, and then you get several restarts, right? And your car's got to fire off well. If it doesn't fire off well for a restart, you get in trouble. If it falls off on a long run, you get in trouble. You really want both.
How about Riley Herbst in this 98? Got that win out in Las Vegas, backed it up with a second that looked like it could have been a win at Miami, and here he is working through traffic.
Chasing after the one of Sam Mayer.
You already see the lines changing, right? Saw how Riley Herbst went around that corner. He wasn't trying to run the bottom. He was trying to run the middle. It's good to see a guy like Riley where it all starts to work, right? Like a lot of people doubted him, and he doubted himself a little bit, and he just kept grinding and fighting and working, and now the results are coming, and it's so much fun to look in a race car driver's eyes when they now know they can do it, right? And because it changes how they believe in themselves. Their confidence gets through the roof, and you can see it with Riley.
Well, he's on a career best 3 top 5s in a row, including that win. He passed Sam Mayer, who has 4 wins in 12 races. So these two are probably the hottest drivers. Now, they have about the same amount of tires, and you see the speed in the 98 versus the 1. I talked to a couple crew chiefs, and they said, while there is tire fall off, they said they refired pretty good. What they mean by that is if they cool off, so either coming to pit road and sitting, or in the race, just a yellow, and let the temperature come out of the tire. They said they surprisingly kind of fire right off better than you would expect. So I think that's what made that 98 look so good right there, is he was just off from pit road.
Jeff, what are we doing here?
So what he's doing right now is the session is almost over. Red light's going to come on in just a moment. So what he was doing, he just slowed the car down, stayed off the brakes, and is running slow to run air through the rotors, right? So he doesn't want to come in off the racetrack. Rotor's super hot, have to sit there, then go queue, and then race tomorrow. So he's just going slowly around the racetrack, not touching the brake pedal at all, bringing the brake temperature down at a slow rate.
And again, qualifying is going to be coming up next. We'll see who the fastest is, who wins the pole for tomorrow's race. It is a Halloween weekend, and some have gone all in, like Josh Williams, who's celebrating his 5-year anniversary today, as well as Josh Malik with a cool paint scheme. Things are about to heat up.
Oh, we got a big crash. Oh, we got a spin in 4.
Get out.
Yeah, he's got the steering wheel off quick.
Smoke billowing out from behind.
This 11 car is done. Oh, man, it gets a little bit loose.
Trouble, turn number 2.
Big damage on Sam Mayer.
Drama already early in this race.
Harrison Burton, he'll go back-to-back with wins.
Like these, Dad, but they're pretty fun.
They're side by side down the backstretch.
That was impressive. You got to give him a lot of credit. 3 wide to Gibbs,
They're
boys.
sliding.
We got to spin. Josh Berry's around.
Jones gets tagged by the 54.
Whoa.
That's a good teammate right there.
Ty Gibbs sees the checkered yellow flags.
The boos raining down from the fans at Martinsville.
We've seen some things at this racetrack we never thought we would see, and another one is Blaine Perkins leading the practice. That's the first time he has ever been the fastest in a practice in the Xfinity Series. So congratulations to the 0-2 team and Blaine Perkins putting that lap together. Again, the track conditions probably a little more favorable, but you still have John Hunter Nemechek, Sam Mayer, Sheldon Creed, Sammy Smith, Austin Hill all right up here running about the same laps. They just couldn't better what Blaine Perkins was able to do. And now the question is, of these championship contenders, of these playoff drivers, who has the best starting position?
Well, and it's so tough here. So you do get 2 laps. Leave pit road, come to the green, white flag, then checkered. The concern is, and Jeff mentioned it, that curb is really the kind of the whammy of all qualifying here. And as long as you do it in 1 and 2, you can kind of finish 3 and 4 and have another lap. But if you do it coming to the white, like off 3 and 4 and kind of hit that curb, you could kind of kill both laps. The other question mark is, what's your goal here? Dale Jr. wanted air pressure up, and he was going to try to run 2 hard laps and see which one was better. Jeff Gordon, I could have the air pressures down a little bit, and he would throw away the first lap. He would run purposely 4 or 5/10 of a second off, give the first lap up, and put it all on the second. Now, that works until it doesn't, and you have a mistake, and you can be all the way in the back. It'll be interesting to see the confidence level of all these drivers.
From a driver standpoint, I think this is one of the most difficult qualifying sessions of the year. Martinsville, New Hampshire, places where tire heat matters, right? Where the tire heat, the tire grabs the racetrack, the hotter it gets to a point, and you don't have enough time to get the tires hot. So you drive that thing in the corner, and it doesn't stick. You're sliding all over the place. So if you just attack lap 1, you could completely mess up lap 2. So this is a very, very difficult qualifying session. To Steve's point, you want that thing to fire off. You want lap 1 to be fastest. To me, if I got lap 1 the fastest, that means I immediately could attack. I could immediately get to my speed. That is best case scenario for me as a driver.
Steve, are we looking at tire temps there, tire pressures? What are we looking at?
That was the brake guy. That was the Brembo brake guy showing him his brake temperatures. They seemed pretty lighthearted, so it didn't look to be too much concern. One issue, though, so real quick, you just ran practice. You come in and you sit. We saw cars try to cool their brakes. Those brakes, the rotors cool very quickly, but the caliper can actually go up, and you can sit there and just heat soak. And one concern is you go out here qualifying, and the brakes just aren't as good as you think for the first corner or first 2 corners.
I've had them where they don't work at all. You know, they sit there on pit road, and they actually will boil the fluid in the caliper. And you can drive in, and if you don't check your brake, the next thing you know, you're in the wall just coming to get the green.
Timmy Hill in practice ran a 20.66, and already quite a bit slower at a 21.21. There's a 20.86 on his second lap, but not able to match what he ran in that first group.
Well, it's going to be harder for this first group to match the speed that they had, because part of the speed they had was because the track was better. Track conditions, typically when the track opens and it's cool, that's the best the track's going to be. So any of those guys in their first session, if they can match that speed, Kim, that would be a great run.
And let's find out what their options are. Playoff driver Austin Hill, as we look at this track, it's rubbered up quite a bit more than we expected because of the warm temps. Do you think you're going to be married to the bottom, or can you dime in the corner a little bit?
I think for one lap, I think the guys that are going to have a shot at the pole probably are going to hit the line really good and be able to wrap the corner. But I think that if you do kind of, let's say you drive in a little too deep and you kind of wash up a little bit, I think that line is there to where you can kind of roll up the racetrack, get pointed, and roll back down the hill. The track has definitely rubbered up a lot. I noticed just a huge change just in the little bit of practice that we had with my car, our Global Industrial Chevrolet. So we have some work to do. We're a little too free on entry, a little too free on exit, but it's turning really good across the middle, even though the rubber, you know, a lot of times it kind of gets it to where the front end's kind of on top of the racetrack. I really like how our car is across the middle. I just got to get the entry and exit settled down, and we'll be all right.
He's going to have to work with a interim crew chief. Mike Shipley on top of the pit box for Austin Hill. His normal crew chief, Andy Street, is suspended because of a lug nut violation last week. Too many loose lug nuts after the race.
53 making its way out onto the track. Akinori Ogata, the 50-year-old out of Japan. Ogata's practice speed time was 21.18.
He's trying to get some experience over the last several years with stock cars. Seen a left front lock up into 3, running late models in Hickory. Actually ran this race in 21. His only Xfinity start here. 50 years old, guys.
21 flat, so it betters his practice time. That was his first lap as he slides coming out of 2. Trying to get a little bit more.
Yep, that's Martinsville.
And a little bit more there.
Listen, if you're a NASCAR fan and you're looking at this 53 wanting to know why there's a windshield wiper on it and the mud flaps or the rain flaps, you know, wet weather tires are available now for some of these short tracks. Now, the weather looks amazing this week, so I don't think it's an issue, but it is worth pointing out. That's why you see the windshield wiper.
Just trying to go to the throttle there. Rear tires didn't hook up.
Here's Kyle Sieg, the younger brother to Ryan Sieg.
paint scheme where the quarter panel's the bottom tip of the quarter panel, that all black, it keeps making me think there's some damage on this car, like the bumper's already been smashed in.
Put together a decent lap here.
His second lap, fair amount better than his first lap.
Slides off of 4, but improves. He goes 20.53 for the fast lap for Kyle Sieg. So he was able to outdo Timmy Hill, as J.J. Yaley will now be on the clock. Talked a lot about J.J. Only 2 Xfinity Series starts this season. Best finish of 28th. That was at Texas, the 1.5 miles. And he goes out and runs a 20.42 to better Kyle Sieg.
Yeah, you see what his approach is. He's trying to just get the left side tires on the curb and then stay there. I think the best exit will be left side tires right at the curb on the exit of turn 4, but we'll see what happens.
Kim, how you feeling about that veteran driver?
I feel good because Justin just told me his long run car was great, but we're about to qualify, so what can I do for a lap or 2?
Well, we kind of know what we were missing for the short run there, but I'm really proud of this race team. You know, our Helmets Camaro was really good right there. The track is completely different than what we've seen here for a long time. I mean, the rubber that's down, the amount of grip that there is. I mean, the speeds are incredibly fast. So, you know, I gave up a little bit on the short run there, just probably being a little too patient. But like I said, our car was really good on the long run. And, you know, we've got 4 really fast Junior Motorsports Camaros this weekend and really excited about the direction. This has been a great racetrack for us, and we can go do it this week.
That's that confidence you were talking about. You can hear it even in the interviews, Jeff. Like, I mean, he's right. His car is fast, but man, I kind of like it. I like the swagger.
Well, coming in 3 points below the cut line, you know, and you know who you're fighting against and battling to get every point, every position on the track, as we see Chad Fincham now on the clock.
Yeah, Chris Hacker went 3rd fastest right before him.
Fincham's first lap at 20.65.
He's only had 3 starts this year in the Xfinity Series. And I said a bit ago, I think this is one of the more difficult places to come qualify, and I think it's even compounded with not being in the car that much, but a nice, clean, smooth lap, 2 laps for Chad.
Fincham's second lap was faster than his first, and we're about 50-50 now as far as first lap being faster than the second is Raja Karuth. Let's hope he took the Ironman mask off, put the helmet on.
iRacing on the rear bumper cover. Big supporter of iRacing over the years. He gets to drive that Hendrick Xfinity entry next week in Phoenix. So a lot of good things happening for Raja here. A lot of great opportunities. 4th quick. See if he can improve. I would have assumed it would have been lap 2. It's surprising to me how many are able to do it on lap 1.
If he can continue this is going to be a better lap. He's fallen off a little bit there through 3 and 4.
Now, one thing that's different, you know, Jeff, we used to kind of have this big gap before qualifying, so everything would cool off. You know, the fact that they still have some temps in their brake, maybe that's why the crew chiefs are saying, you know, I'm going to be a little aggressive on the air pressure. You know, the rest of the car should come right in.
Raja's second lap was a 20.49, so that puts him 2nd fastest. Joe Graf Jr.
This is a driver that runs this 38 some. He's also been in that 19 Joe Gibbs entry some that we see Myatt Snyder in this week.
Oh, missed the bottom there. Just trying to carry a little too much speed.
Kind of did it again. A little shallow, a little straight.
Second lap a little faster for Joe Graf Jr. He is 5th fastest of the 9 that have gone. Every driver seems to be trying to grab just a little bit more speed. It's like Ogata there. Qualifying continuing for the Xfinity Series from here at Martinsville, as now we're seeing the 28 of C.J. McLaughlin on track. Last year finished 24th in this race. His only start here.
He has a degree in mechanical engineering. You want to have a debate with him about something?
Well, I'm wondering if the next step is you go from driver to team engineer and maybe even slide into the crew chief spot.
I think he wants to be a driver.
I've been arguing with engineers forever. I don't need another one on my list to argue with.
You and I share that.
I would guess it would be more difficult. Well, maybe it's easier for an engineer to tell an engineer what he thinks needs to be done to the car.
I do.
You ever heard two engineers talk to one another?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, come on, Rick.
I mean, it's over my head.
If CJ becomes very valuable, if he decides at some point he wants a job in racing as an engineer,
yeah, that
have
is
some
true.
driving experience,
Sure.
that would make him very valuable.
Yeah, we half joke about it, but there are times in my career looking back that I think I would have got to the solution faster if I had driven. Right? I hear what the driver's saying, but I couldn't really relate because I'd never really, to be quite honest, never had the skill set to put the car where it needed to be. I just can't do it. Can't tell my hands and feet to put the car right, and I do think that helps. Look at somebody like Rodney Childers, Matt McCall. There's a lot of cup-level crew chiefs that have come from the driving realm.
Jeffrey Earnhardt on his first lap goes 5th quickest at a 20.67. Lap number 2, a little bit better, 20.54. So now we're starting to see more and more that second lap is fastest. Here's Blaine Perkins. He was fastest in practice. We'll see if he's able to back that up.
Well, we heard what Allgaier said about how much grip the track had. Then we heard Austin Hill talk about how much the track had changed. Well, no one's going to realize that more than Blaine Perkins in that first group. And you can kind of see the front tires just not working like he wants on entry to the middle, a little bit free on exit. I think that's mostly because of the tight end.
20.59, lap 1 for Perkins.
Hit
He was able to hug that curve.
Yeah,
Yep.
but yeah, it just looked like he kind of hit the curb, got in there really good, made a little contact with it, shot the car up the racetrack.
Love the scheme, the payday scheme, great colors. I'm a big fan of the payday.
Lap 1 fastest for Perkins, and that keeps him in 6th. All in with the Halloween feel for Josh Bilicki. I see Chemung Supply, and I immediately start thinking about the onion. The Bodines.
That's our ages, because I was thinking Jeff.
Okay.
Jeffrey.
Sorry.
Jeffrey.
There you go.
Bilicki with a big lap. 20.41 on his first lap out.
Trying to improve upon it. Car looks pretty secure. It's a little tight in the middle. Right there, it came off the curb. We'll see if he can carry any exit speed.
Jeff, you were probably thinking of Brett, right?
Oh, big improvement.
Bodine brothers.
That's a good lap.
20.29. Connor Mozak next on the clock.
Finished 5th at Watkins Glen this year. His best finish.
Connor on his first lap is going to be 3rd quickest at a 20.49. A couple races ago, he had the Sherry Strong paint scheme on the car, and they've made that a die cast, so that's available. I saw on the Martin Truex Jr. Foundation that those die casts were available, but Connor Mozak putting another decent lap together here. His fastest, though, is his first lap at a 20.49.
I thought that second lap, Steve, might have been a little better. He kind of arced the entry into 3, turned and came off on the bottom at 4. I was interested to see it, but it actually wasn't quicker.
That's what's so hard here. The field's so close that if the driver uses a little bit more brake and has the car exactly where you want it,
big lockup.
you think it's fast. Now, those you can see, obviously, right, Jeff? But if you overslow the car, you can make the line look great. It's just not fast enough.
Yeah.
And this is a situation where you're going to ruin both laps, right? When you miss 3 and 4 in your first lap.
I think he's okay because you still carry speed off of turn 4. You're right. I mean, it kills that lap, but I think your turn 4 speed's okay. It doesn't help it by any means, but I don't think it just destroys the second lap. That's a common problem.
Yeah, that issue's better than hitting the curb, say, trying to turn back to the bottom of 3 and 4. That would make a big difference.
So some of this is car setup too. I mean, not to just take it off the driver's hands, but you can completely change that left front tire lockup with the setup of the car. We have always struggled with that since the beginning of time. It just is very difficult to do, to get the car to do everything you wanted to do and not have the left front tire too light on corner entry. A lot of things affect that camber in the left front. There's a lot of how much dynamic wedge is in the car, a lot of stuff that can really affect that.
Another Halloween scheme paint job here for the KeenParts.com. CorvetteParts.com. You see so many little characters there. As Ryan Ellis goes across the line, his first lap was fastest, so he's 10th quickest at a 20.62. Here comes Brett Moffitt. Moffitt, another one who was top 3 in practice.
So he just turned left and just got to the curve as quickly as he can into turn 1. Did the opposite in turn 3. Stayed out against the wall a little bit longer. Lap hitter. Kim, what's going on with the 19?
Yeah, we saw them out during practice, a lot of thrashing going on. Apparently NASCAR saw something they did not like, so they had them push the car all the way back through inspection. He was able to get through, so Myatt will put down a qualifying lap, but the team definitely sweating down here after having to go back through inspection per NASCAR's request.
So there's a list of approved adjustments you're allowed to make. Once the car goes through inspection, it's technically impounded. You practice off pit road, then there are a list of adjustments you're allowed to make to your car. It's not completely frozen, but that's the list you need to work within. Perhaps NASCAR, something they thought was outside of that, pushed it back through inspection. And I appreciate NASCAR, if there's question to it, just push it back through inspection and give them the chance to qualify. Just make sure everything's up and up for the fan who invests their time watching and for the team putting the effort in. You're better off knowing the starting lineup after qualifying.
We saw Moffitt post the fastest lap just a moment ago at 2022. So we're comparing to Moffitt now. His pool on his first lap goes 11th fastest at a 20.59.
Not the side grip he was looking for there on the corner exit. You see him trying to go the gas, but the car was just coming up the racetrack quickly.
There's Casgarala.
This is one of my favorite paint schemes. It's clean. See, these guys do a lot of marketing. It's fun to see what they do when they come into towns.
That's what I was going to say. We see this car. They have a Supra right off the street, right off the showroom, wrapped just like the race car. Really creative idea for a show car. It looks just like this car, and we see it at a lot of different places where your Island Coastal Lager could be supplied or purchased. A lot of in-market activation.
That was a good turns 1 and 2 right there. Really did a nice job getting the car to rotate, going to the throttle.
And across the line, Casgarala, first lap is going to be the fastest at a 20.44, slotting Casgarala in 5th. Moffitt still the fastest. Playoff drivers about ready to climb behind the wheel. Jump into the exciting, intense, and uplifting world of first responders, police, firefighters, and dispatchers as they face heart-stopping situations and save the day. The 911 Marathon, that's next on USA. As we see the 11, Lane Riggs making the first Xfinity Series start here at Martinsville.
So, Jeff, you should have walked down there and told him what you were saying about late model, because the first lap, he tried that high entry and it never got to the curb. Good adjustment on his second lap. Got to the curb that time. Same thing, though. Yeah. I mean, I know it looks like much, but you can't wait to get to the curb that far around in an Xfinity car. You got to chase it in there and roll around the curb.
What's weird is you can do it on old tires.
Yeah.
Because the pace backs up so much that you can arc it and then you can turn late if your car has enough rear grip to do it. But on new tires, it's just hard to make time doing it.
You compare it to here. Now, this 19 of Myatt Snyder, he's going to drive a little straighter in, get to the curb, or try to. Left front lock up. So now it's all about getting back to the bottom, getting a straight shot off. That was a nice corner. I thought he overdrove the entry. I was wrong. It still turned the middle. That 19 is really cutting the middle of the corner.
Yeah, and the first race Myatt ran here in the Xfinity car, he was doing the same thing. And and he recognized it. And the next race, he didn't do it anymore. He drove it like
That's the turn there.
Yeah, drove it like an Xfinity car. But that was just a left front lockup, just trying to get a little bit more. That's Martinsville.
You got to go faster, right? Yep. He got away with it the first lap. He had a great 1 and 2 trending in the green, which is, I don't know what, a mile an hour, mile and a half an hour faster into turn 3. And that time the left front just wouldn't allow him to get there.
It's a good lap.
Talk about late model veterans. This guy's kind of won it all when it comes to the late model world. We'll see.
And he's had success here in the Xfinity Series.
You see it though, like entry speed. Why is it turn 3? It just seems like it's easier to get into turn 1 than turn 3, at least as far as looking at data and making mistakes. Does it feel that way from behind the wheel, Jeff?
You know, the corners look the same, but there is a little difference. I've never honestly been able to pinpoint what's different about them, but it just seems like a little different grip level. Always wondered if actually one end of the racetrack had just a degree more banking in it or something than the other.
Interesting path that Josh Berry has taken. That first year with Junior Motorsports, they didn't have the full season sponsorship for him, and so he raced for other teams, but then was able to have a full year behind the wheel for Junior Motorsports. Now is going to take over for the 4 of Kevin Harvick at the Cup Series next year, as we see Jeremy Clements on track. Kim.
And John Hunter Nemechek comes into this race plus 44. So does your points position make anything about this weekend any easier for you?
I guess so. I feel like we're in the decent points position here. We just got to go out, and it's another race for us. Just got to go try and score stage points in stage 1, stage 2. Hopefully we can do that and lock ourselves in early into the Final 4 and then go race for a win. The guys have brought a really fast Mobil 1 Toyota GR Supra, almost as fast as Xfinity 10G. Hopefully we can get a few adjustments overnight and make it that much better.
You heard John Hunter mention stage point. His crew chief, Ben Bayshore, told me this morning that they would not feel comfortable until after stage 2 because anything can happen at Martinsville.
Well, and that's the stress of coming in plus 44. Of course, if you're below that, you would love to have that position. But, man, if you don't advance coming in with that many points, you know, it'd have to be something crazy, but we've seen crazy, right? So I think that's a great approach, that don't make it sound like you're locked in, right? You can tell from that interview, they've had these conversations that we are not going to worry about the finish of this race until we get through the first 2 stages and score enough points. After the 92 here of Josh Williams was supposed to be the 27 of Jeb Burton, but they had a leak in the radiator itself. They had to change the radiator. They're working on that now, so for that reason they won't get to qualify. So they'll have to start at the back of the field.
Jeb's one of those late model drivers we talked about, has a lot of confidence here. Just lives about an hour down the road. Hometown track.
How many laps do you think the Burtons have on South Boston?
The fans and the competitors would say too many.
Yeah, there's 7 of Jeb right there.
27.
That's disappointing for that team. Clearly, Ryan Sieg, good lap.
Third fastest on his second lap at a 2020 for Ryan Sieg.
What a great year for Parker Retzlaff. You know, a name that was kind of new to the series, new to me. I had to get to know this young man, but continues to kind of impress. I know he didn't get his car in the playoffs. Jeb Burton is his team car who got in with that win at Talladega, but I think the future's bright for this kid. He just always seems to be there, right? You're never predicting him to have a top 5 or a top 10. He's running right up there with Joe Gibbs equipment, Junior Motorsports equipment.
Yeah, and Jordan Anderson racing. I mean, you know, 2 cars this year. Good lap right here. Second fastest. What is he doing?
He's going fastest.
There you go.
2015 for Parker Retzlaff.
Good job. And again, we're talking Jordan Anderson racing. I mean, they've got a car in the playoffs. Won early with Jeb. Parker's starting to see him in the top 10 on a frequent basis. Really excited to see what that team can do next year.
And that lap from the 31, as you see some left front lock up into 1, I was impressed because I thought he kind of missed 3 and 4. But then that 5/8 mark that you talk about, he found a way to be patient to be able to get enough power down to kind of get the time back coming to the line. Brandon Jones is going to throw an 11 up there to prove that the 15 is not going to be good enough for the pole.
This guy's been right in the front at the end of the races last year, and think about what that last year, this race last year, with he and his teammate Ty Gibbs.
Now, Brandon Jones was leading the race at the end, toward the end of the race, when his teammate, who was already locked into the playoffs, gave him a little shove in the bumper, got him out of the way, and went on to pass him. So Brandon Jones wasn't able to advance to the championship 4, as we see Parker Kligerman now on the clock.
Yeah, we talk about teams that have done a nice job. This team also, Parker came into this year, just tons of excitement about driving this race car full time. And he's done a nice job doing it, and the team's done a nice job. And with only 2 races left, it's going to be interesting to see how they can build on it. What can they do to take that next step? Because they're going to have to be better, right? Next year, every team's going to get better. If you don't, then you're going to be going backwards. So can't wait to see what team can bring more speed next year. Parker staying with his team next year. I love that. I love that combination.
Well, no driver probably is looking forward to the opportunity to make the playoffs again more than, the 98 of Riley Herbst. I mean, next guy finally got that win. He just was beating or battling, Parker Kligerman, and got knocked out of the playoffs. And then, Riley is just on such a hot streak.
Parker's lap was good enough, or Parker Kligerman's lap was good enough for 6th fastest at a 2021. So again, the top 5 right now are Jones, Retzlaff, Snyder, Berry, and Ryan Sieg. Big weekend here at Martinsville as we look forward to the elimination race. Tomorrow morning it starts off, actually early afternoon starts off with Cup practice and qualifying. That'll be here on USA at 12:30. Then the Dale Jr. Download with Ricky Rudd at 2:30. Countdown to Green and Xfinity Series playoffs 3 at 3:30. And then on NBC on Sunday at 2 o'clock, the Cup Series will have their shot at who will make the championship 4. Again, last year it was, well, Christopher Bell won the race, but I think won the hearts of so many was Ross Chastain riding the wall to advance into the championship 4 out of the Cup race. Brandon Jones is coming off the track and is the fastest with a 2011, standing by with Kim.
And Rick, a former winner here at Martinsville. So assess your qualifying lap. What did you do well, and what maybe could you have improved on?
Yeah, I know that we didn't go out and practice and set a big lap time, but honestly, I felt like I had a really good long run pace. We needed to tighten up a little bit too, and I know that modifieds ran yesterday, so we don't really know exactly how much of the rubber really affected our car, but as it's getting pulled up, I think that was a much better lap. I was really happy kind of with the balance there. I know, like you mentioned, what it kind of takes to get around this place and to get a win, so I think that really we're pretty close here this weekend. So looking forward to it. This is one that I always circle on the schedule to come and run good at, so big shout out to Menards, Delta, everyone that's on board, and hopefully that we can, I know it's still pretty late in the year, but we can still get it turned around and still get a win here, I think, tomorrow.
I keep hearing teams tell me that it could be a strikingly different race here at Martinsville because of the warm temperatures. What's your expectation based on what you saw today and knowing you'll spend a lot more laps under the sun tomorrow?
I would say it's probably going to be similar to, honestly, the spring race here. I think if you go back and look at just statistically the weather and how it is, it's pretty matched up to where we started this year and ran really well here the first race too. And I think we've honestly made bigger gains on our Camaros as well throughout the year. That was pretty early, so I think we've done a lot better job at getting better race cars to the track, and so I think that we'll have a better shot tomorrow.
Brandon Jones looking to cap off the season with a win.
I think Junior Motorsports has been surprised that Brandon Jones hasn't been in contention more to win races.
Yeah, Brandon Jones, Riley Herbst, these are two drivers that, not that anyone ever takes the playoffs for granted, but I think once you get on the outside looking in, you remember that burn and that feel of disappointment all the way. And you see right here, a great first lap of 2009. You know what I mean, Jeff? When everyone else unloads at Daytona, I think teams that were just on the outside, they unload with just this little bit more fire that they know that is when the regular season begins. That's when the run to the playoffs starts.
Look at this lap.
Are we going to see the pole being a sub 20? I'm guessing yes.
I don't know. I don't know if we'll see that or not. I mean, Riley Herbst and Brandon Jones both were fast in practice. It's possible.
Here's Chandler Smith, and he's trending, was in the green. Let's see if he can stay there. He loses a little when he goes into 3. Riley Herbst now at a 20:09.
This car did not look very good in practice. Long run speed was falling off pretty hard around other cars. So better second lap here.
Pretty close, lost a little through the center. Chandler Smith is going to be third fastest at a 2012. So now the first of the playoff drivers have taken time. Here comes Sheldon Creed. Again, Creed leaving RCR at the end of the season.
Almost felt like he threw that first lap away. Big entry, big wide entry into one. Now back to the bottom somewhat, not all the way to the bottom.
It looked a little uncomfortable in, like he was guarding against it, but it kind of worked.
So good through 3 and then lost it in 4. Sheldon Creed, a big pickup on his second lap, goes 2012. That puts him 4th right now.
So when you said sub 20, what I look at is the gaps, right? 09, 11, 12, 12, 15, 15. Normally Martinsville just fills right in. Now it's not rare to have a pole sitter jump out there by 5 or 6 100ths. We'll see if somebody's able to do that. But the top 10 normally so close.
Nerve-wracking qualifying for these guys, you know. Qualify poorly, don't get stage points, it puts you at a deficit. Allgaier 7th so far. Can he pick up on his second lap?
And he got into the corner great. I didn't think it would make the middle. It did. Half a tenth to work with. I love the fact that he didn't gain a lot there. Like he didn't overdrive the entry. Can he keep the exit speed? He will. This should be a good lap.
There it is.
That answers my question. No, he didn't get there. 20.04, so he doesn't break 20, but he is the fastest.
And that's that gap we were talking about. I know 04 to 09, that's not a gap. I'm like, well, that's a gap here at Martinsville, right?
Like, didn't mean to interrupt you.
Sammy missed it there.
Yeah, big lock up on the left front. That time into 1. Normally we see lock up into 3.
I love this look right here. I don't think he's blinked yet.
Watch his eyes, watch his head. What is he looking at? Looking at the curb. Find the curb. Right now, what's your next view? The bottom curb again. Everything he's looking at is on the left side. He's not looking out of the right. He's looking at the left. That's his points. Hit your marks. When you hear a crew chief or a spotter say hit your marks, that's what he means. Look where you want to go. If you don't look at it, you can't see it. It won't go there.
20.03. So that's about 100th of a second faster.
Top of the board right there.
Sammy Smith, 20.03. So now playoff drivers are currently 1st, 2nd, 5th, and 6th.
Yeah, just a left front lock up. He's trying to get to his hauler, get some of his Pringles, man. Get there quick.
Get a snack.
Let's see if
Cole Custer.
Yeah, see if he can duplicate what he did in the spring. It was a 20.05 pole in the spring. He's going to have to run a little quicker if he wants to pole this time.
Haas CNC on the side of the 00. Company of Gene Haas.
I love how he enters the corner. Nice.
Great lap
control.
Here. 20.05. So now the top 3 are a 20.03, 20.04, 20.05.
Now we just need Austin Hill to qualify like an 0.52 or something, and they'll all 3 be right there together.
Here comes Daniel Hemrick, former series champion. Daniel up the racetrack a bit there, and he'll be running in the Cup Series next season. First lap at 2020, so that puts him in 12th.
Got loose getting in the corner into 1. You can see the tires turn right on corner entry. Just did not have the stability he needed to be able to drive in the corner as deep as he did.
Fastest lap was his first one at a 2020. That keeps him in 12th. Comes Austin Hill. We'll see where he falls in line. Austin's so good on the super speedways this season. Little bit of lock up there as he entered the turn. First lap is 10th quickest at a 2017. Roll the turn very well that time. Loses a little off turn, and that will bump him up just to 8th. So a 2013 for Austin Hill.
All right, so advantage Allgaier and Custer. I know it's only a few spots, but they're only separated by a few points.
Mentioned to John Hunter Nemechek the cushion that he has as far as points go, 44 above the cut line. He said he still wants to get stage points in stage 1 and stage 2 so he can lock himself into the championship 4 on points, and then maybe go after that win, which would be his 8th win this year. Already 7 wins, the winningest driver in the Xfinity Series in 2023.
Well, 17th on lap 1 is not going to make the quest for stage points any easier. We'll see if he was just kind of warming everything up. Big lap happening on lap 2. Big improvement. Missed the bottom, though.
It's going to hurt him. Nemechek goes up to 5th, though.
Yeah.
A big second lap.
Big improvement. Almost like you mentioned before, Jeff, like he wasn't that concerned about lap 1.
And that separated Austin Hill even further from Allgaier and Custer. Whoa, whoa. he was in trouble right there. That was an eventful turn 1.
Final one for qualifying, and Sam Mayer. And Mayer's first lap, we'll see where he falls in line. He's 17th on lap 1 at a 2028.
This car is loose.
He would have to pick up a bunch if he wants to better Sammy Smith. You see him in the lower left corner. This could be his first pole. Can Sammy Smith hang on as Sam Mayer comes across the line? He doesn't improve. Sammy Smith gets career pole number 1 here at Martinsville. Okay, so for a driver who's 49 points below the cut line, you start on the pole. That's the first goal, right? Let's hear from the pole winner, Kim.
And Sammy Smith picks arguably the most important race to win your first pole. How do you keep all those cars behind you, though, and end up in victory lane to get a championship 4 spot?
Yeah, I think just keep it with the racetrack. We knew coming into here we had to have our act together, and we did that. Thanks to everybody on the 18 team. They brought me really fast Flying J. Pringles, Toyota Jura Supra, so just got to keep up with the track tomorrow and do our jobs, and feel like we got the car to do it.
Runner-up in the spring. What did you learn in the spring race that could help you here tomorrow?
Yeah, I think a lot of things just felt like what we needed to do with car, and I feel like a couple things I needed to do as a driver. So I feel like we got those squared away, and hopefully we can put together tomorrow.
Sammy Smith will lead the field to green in tomorrow's NASCAR Xfinity Series race.
Thanks, Kim. Make sure to download the official app of NASCAR Tracks, and that will keep you up to date on the latest race and event information from all of your favorite tracks. All you have to do is search Tracks in the App Store and download for free. Start using that today. Take a look at the starting grid. And Sammy Smith, you look at the playoff drivers, a little purple chip there by their names. You have Allgaier and Smith in row 1, then Cole Custer, John Hunter Nemechek, Chandler Smith, and Sheldon Creed, all starting in the top 8.
Jeff, you mentioned it, Austin Hill back in row 5. Not the furthest one back because Mayer's behind him, but Mayer's already got a win. So the furthest one back trying to score some points here. We'll see if that comes into play here in stage 1.
Yeah, but Sam Mayer back qualifying, saw how loose he was. He'll start inside of row 9. Taz Gralla, row 12.
Saw Lane Riggs there in row 10 as well. Connor Mozak back in 13. Rajah Caruth also in row 13.
On the final page, we look at the drivers that just couldn't quite find the balance in qualifying.
And let's check in with Justin Allgaier. He's standing by with Kim.
10th front row start this season, and a very important front row start because earlier today you said, I need to start ahead of the 00 and the 21. You're doing, in fact, that. How do you keep ahead of them throughout tomorrow's race, though?
That's a bigger task than qualifying in front of them for sure, but proud of the effort. I mean, qualifying this year has definitely been something that I focused on. I'm not a great qualifier by trade, so had to dig deep, and this team has rallied behind that, and they've given me race cars that when you do get it right, it obviously works. So hats off to Sammy. That was a great lap. I look at the time and it's like, man, where could I have picked up that little bit? But our Hellmann's Camaro honestly was really good in the long run. We weren't really focused on the short run. We know that this is not a game of inches, it's a game of yards. And so we're going to have to go out tomorrow and mind our P's and Q's and do all the right things. But we weren't quite as fast as Xfinity 10G today, but we're working on that for tomorrow. And I think the track is going to be significantly different tomorrow than what it was this afternoon and even into this evening. So proud of the team, proud of the effort, and we'll go on. And if we do make the Final Four, it's going to give us great pit stall selection for Phoenix. So either way, it's a great day.
Justin Allgaier enters this race -3 points to the elimination line.
I'll put you guys on the spot as we take a look at what's going to happen over the weekend. Again, tomorrow, Cup Series practice and qualifying starts us off at 12:30. We'll have the race for the Xfinity Series 3 to 3:30, and Cup Series on Sunday at 2 o'clock. That's on NBC. Put you on the spot. Okay, tomorrow, does somebody win their way into the championship 4? And who are the other 2 to get in on points?
No chance, my friend. No way. Do I think there's a winner? Yes. I think a playoff driver wins this race. Okay. Absolutely.
I'll predict a late race restart and chaos and a lot of drivers mad at each other.
we know that you're accurate there. Again, the championship 4 will be decided tomorrow in the Xfinity Series. And we're looking forward to that. There's more NASCAR and motorsports coverage always available on NBCSports.com. Coming up next on USA, it's the 911 Marathon.